What up? Been a long time, guys. Sorry, it's been a while. I have no idea. Oh, I gotta move this. Hold on. There we go. Oh, this camera is super touchy. I don't know what the heck that was. It's like the front of my stupid phone holder thing was like blocking the camera lens. But anyways, guys, welcome to the show. Tonight we're going to be discussing demons. And I don't like talking about them. I don't even like thinking about them, but there is a hey Dorothy, how are you? There is a very real presence of demons in this world that we all know it. Everybody knows it. Everybody talks about it. Even people that aren't Christians talk about it. Daniel, thank you for coming with your wrench. And I put I actually just saw that car today, but I chose it. I usually pick from my pictures I've taken in the past week. For some reason, that one just came up, and I thought about the fact that that is a beautiful car. That is a very beautiful car. And often in life, demons masquerade as angels of light. They masquerade as things that you want. They masquerade as things that you want to go after. They entice you with things that are pleasing to the eye. And much like that car, although it is beautiful, you notice the fire on the side of the car, the fire like paint on the side of the car. And it is a beautiful thing. And you're looking at the car, and just like a demon is something that is usually enticing you with something that goes after one of your senses, but in actuality, it will burn you in the end. And I have experienced that burning in my life many, many times, where I went after something I shouldn't have, and it hurt me to the point where the effects were very lasting. They lasted many years, and it took me a long time to get out of that place that I got stuck in, much like Pilgrim's Progress, the book. I don't know if you've ever read it, where he would get stuck in certain places. Like, I forget the names of them all, but like each place he would get stuck, and he'd have to dig his way out, and it's just a long process. And I've spoken before about how, for instance, in heaven, the babies that have been aborted are taught what a human being would learn if they had lived for 100 years. And it mentions that they have a better lot than us because something to the effect of like they don't have to go through all the temptations and things that we have to go through. They just get to learn the right way, basically. So for anyone that has guilt from abortion or things like that, just pray about it, because the Lord forgives you, the babies forgive you, angels forgive us, and we need to forgive ourselves for the things that we've done bad in our past and things like that. So with that being said, thank you all for coming. We have a very, very exciting group of texts to read tonight. Also, a portion of thank you, Jill. Thank you, everyone, for coming. And I'm going to be... I messed up the guy's name when I said it last time. There's the false preacher, Todd White, who has the dreads. The person I was talking to last time, I was talking about someone that was a witch that was in charge of like 13 states. He was in charge of all the drug trafficking in those states, which also is very odd. I'll get into that, but his name's Todd, John Todd. John Todd. He was part of the Illuminati. Sorry, I'm shaking my camera a little bit. So I have a new setup behind me. I don't know if you guys can see that I switched my desk around, so I had a better background besides my like clothes and stuff like that. But basically, hey Miss Aja, how you doing? Basically, he was part of the Illuminati. His name, actually, I think either before or after they changed it, was Cullen, which is weird because Cullen is the last name of the vampires in what's that movie? I can't even think of it now. Back a long time ago, I used to like know all about it. Somebody want to help me? They can throw the name out there. It was like Breaking Dawn and all these other weird things. I forget the name of it. But anyways, that vampire series where she wanted to be a vampire and finally he bit her and blah blah blah. It's like a totally messed up story. But anyways, Todd White. I mean John. See, I'm going to do this all the time. Todd White is the guy that is the false prophet with the dreads. John Todd is the guy that was part of the Illuminati. His last name was Cullen. He was in charge of 13 states, all the witchcraft, all the drug trafficking, which is weird. Like I was saying, what does drug trafficking have to do with witchcraft? It has a lot to do with it because the Lord said stay away from pharmakia. And so before we get into the 2-minute video clip, I need to explain what I'm reading tonight. So we're going to go through a couple of books and I'm going to explain how it all ties in later on. So one of the books that I have is called God's Little Instruction Book, and this was given to me by my 8th grade teacher. Oddly enough, I am currently teaching soccer. I'm coaching soccer for my son's 8th grade soccer team. I just started a couple of weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago or something, because they couldn't keep a coach for these kids. Some of them are there. It's the B team, so it's the kids that didn't make the team, and some of them are from troubled homes and things like that. My son is on that team because it's his first year playing soccer. Although he's good, he just didn't make the A team because they're very, very good. So, anyways, this was given to me by Jonathan Vent. He has twin brothers that I went to youth group with, and he was my 8th grade teacher at a Christian school called Salem Christian. He gave me this book as my graduation present because there was only 4 kids in my graduating class, 4 kids. 3 of them I went to high school with at a school that my freshman year that had 30 kids in it. One of them was Marissa Marion, one was Seth Carone, and the other one was Jules. Jules, her father was a firefighter, and he died. He fell out of a window and died. It fell onto his head. She had a lot of problems. Seth, my best friend, all through grade school, we found out later that his father had been raping him for almost 15 years of his life. And Marissa Marion's father was an accountant and went on to doing something else with their life. I have no idea. But Seth and Jules ended up going to high school with me. Seth had very serious problems after that. His father went to prison when they found out. It disrupted a lot of things at our school. And the reason I'm mentioning all these things is because I want people to realize that demons affect so much of our lives, especially when you're in a Christian environment. They're constantly on attack. They're always on attack. So we need to not only be on the defensive, but we are for people and praying for our homes and praying for the people around us and forgiving people around us. Because when you forgive people for what they do to you, it doesn't allow the demons to have a hold on that situation anymore. And also to pray for them to not be able to converse, as I'm going to show you in a minute. So the reason that I am showing you this book is because, as you can see on the edges, this was gray. This book made it through my house fire, and it's still in one piece. But as you can see here, it says, Jared, may God bless you as you travel in his path. Kevin Vent, June 3rd, 1996. And it's called God's Little Instruction Book, and it just has little things like phrases and then the memory verse that backs it up. And I look at it, once in a while. I keep it in my bathroom sometimes, depending on where I live, and just I'll look at it. So Jonathan Vent is the teacher that introduced me to this book. It is called The Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis. Now, C.S. Lewis is the author that wrote this book, and he also wrote, I believe, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. He dedicated this book to none other than J.R.R. Tolkien, or however you want to pronounce it. If you want to pronounce it like the Chips Ahoy cookies or whatever, that's fine. I don't know if you understand what I'm talking about, but anyways. So J.R.R. Tolkien obviously has witchcraft in his movies. If you've ever seen Lord of the Rings and all the other, The Hobbit and all that, there's a lot of magic in those movies. Tons of it. So I want you to hear firsthand what he says, what John Todd says about J.R.R. Tolkien. And you probably wouldn't know this, and this might be hard to hear. I haven't even played this yet. I just found it. I search for it on YouTube. You can find it if you just listen to the 4 or 6 part series that John Todd does. But this is 2 minutes and 28 seconds, and listen to what it says. I don't know how good the audio is. This is who I'm talking about. His name is John Todd, and he's talking about that people don't understand that J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis, who claim to be a Christian author, is not a Christian author. So listen.
J.R.R. Tolkien, the author of The Hobbit and other series, wrote any of his books on the basis of witchcraft? Many of the themes in the books are exposed. This person couldn't have been here last night. Every book written by J.R.R. Tolkien, including the Silmarillion, just finished by Christopher, and you'll find Christopher's name on those handouts, was not written by him. Until Tolkien wrote these things used in witchcraft, as you put it, were secrets of witchcraft. And Tolkien was a member, along with another gentleman I'm going to mention in a minute. Both were supposed confessed born-again Christians, but both were members of the Golden Dawn. That's the Rothschild's private church in London. It's the oldest coven in the world. And he gained permission both from the council and the Rothschild personally to take things from the Book of Shadows, the Witchcraft Bible, and print them in books. You may think that The Hobbit and the books of the trilogy, like The Lord of the Rings and Sutars and so on, and the Silmarillion are fairy tales, but they're the gospel to witches. According to witches, those things really did take place. If you've got them in your home, you wouldn't own a Satan's Bible, at least I hope you wouldn't. Pray for you if you would. And you wouldn't own a witchcraft Bible. Why would you own part of the witchcraft Bible? Now you can go, don't do this, but you could go to the occult stores and you could pick up many books that came out after The Hobbit came out that bear the alphabet of witchcraft, the runes. But The Hobbit released them first, and they were secret upon the penalty of death till then, and nobody could have written them that had not been in witchcraft. Now, there's a Christian author whose books are sold in every Christian bookstore. That's why I don't like Christian bookstores. Who claims that Tolkien went into the Lord. He forgot to say what Lord. And his books are required reading before you can join a coven. Required studying. His name is C.S. Lewis. You pray about it, but they should go in the fireplace right along. And I'm going to quote from one of Lewis's books. The pathway to God is like a hall with many doors. They all lead to God. Not on your life. Jesus says that anybody comes other than through him is a thief and a robber.
So I hope everybody was able to hear the audio on that. It actually gave me chills, but I hope that you heard what it said. And what it said is that the information that was used to create The Lord of the Rings is released from the Rothschilds. It was allowed to be released. And they literally worshipped Satan himself. Like himself. That's how high up this goes. And I only bought this book, the Screw Tape Letters, so that I could talk about it on this show tonight. And in this book, it says, "My dear Wormwood," and it is a head demon talking to a lower demon. And I'm not going to read what it says, but it goes into talking about all the different things that demons try to do to make you slip up. And I told you guys before that I had the dream where there was demons at a table and they were talking about me. And I knew they were talking about me. In this book, the Screw Tape Letters, which C.S. Lewis says that in this he can't share with you how he knows that these conversations took place, and the conversations are happening in like a time past that's before our time. But they talk about how to entice people with lust, how to actually I read the first chapter trying to remember what my teacher had been telling me that the book was about. And in the first chapter it speaks about how to entice a person to keep them in a general state of blasé, so they never awaken to the fact that Jesus Christ is real, that he died for you, and that he loves you. And it is very troubling that to this day, like he just said, people have these books and books from C.S. Lewis, and not maybe not in a Christian bookstore, but people that are Christians that have J.R.R. Tolkien's books in their homes. My mom even bought me the series for Lord of the Rings for Christmas one time before I stopped celebrating Christmas. So, and my mom is a confessing Christian. So there's many people that are like Torah observant, that have the beard and they follow all that stuff, which is fine, whatever, do whatever you want, but they stop going to regular churches and they only go to like Sabbath type churches and stuff like that now, because people in the churches were passing around the Hobbit movies and stuff like that in church. They were passing the Lord of the Rings movies around like that's witchcraft, and you're passing it around in a church that is supposed to be a home for God. Okay. So briefly, I'm just going to read some text. This one specifically, page 1